Move him, the billionaire said, as the champagne flute shattered on the marble. Every fork paused mid-air. The host's staff edged backward. The manager stepped into the blast zone with a tight, trained smile. "Miss Crane," he said softly. Move him," the woman repeated, eyes on the man and the little girl at the corner window table. The man didn't flinch. He had a paper reservation printout in a clear sleeve. His kid, maybe 9, clutched a folded blue birthday hat in her lap. The window behind them framed the river and the bridge where fireworks would go off at sunset. "It's his table," the manager tried again, "booked under Ray's." "It's my night," the billionaire said. "It's my money, move him." Staff looked everywhere but at her. A server ducked behind the bar. A busser stared down into a tray of water glasses like he could drown inside it. The hostess swallowed twice and found an invisible smudge to rub off the podium. The single dad rose halfway from his chair, calm voice, steady spine. "We're not moving." The little girl reached for his hand. He threaded his fingers through hers without breaking eye contact with the woman. "Do you know who I am?" she asked. "I know what a reservation means," he said. "Mr. Ray's," the manager whispered, inching closer. "Noah, please, 5 minutes and we'll have a comparable, the woman snapped. "Is that exact table?" A man in a slim suit hovered just behind her shoulder, tablet ready. "Miss Crane, your guests are assembling in the private room." "We can." Evelyn Crane lifted 2 fingers and he shut up. She took a step toward the table. The heels didn't make a sound on the polished floor. She was the kind of quiet that made people quieter. "Sweetheart," she said to the girl, voice cool, "we'll give you something nicer, okay? Anywhere you want, we'll pay for." "No," the dad said. One word, not loud, but it landed, her pupils pinned on him. "Everything has a price." "Not tonight." The manager darted a look between them. "Miss Crane, there's a perfect center banquet. We can comp the—" "Fire him," she said. "Start there." The manager's throat worked. He didn't move, nobody breathed. Noah Ray's slid the printout from the sleeve and held it steady. "Window table, 7 p.m. Confirmed twice, it's my daughter's birthday." "Then she can blow out candles at a better seat," Evelyn said. "We're wasting time." "We've been waiting," he said. He glanced down at his daughter. Her knuckles were white around the hat. "We're staying." Silence spread like a stain. Phones came out. A diner at the next table tilted her camera low and hit record. A bartender set down a shaker mid-mix and swallowed. Evelyn turned to the manager. "Security." 2 guards in black appeared from an invisible hallway like they'd been parked there by habit. They were careful when they moved toward him. Most people got careful around a dad sitting between a billionaire and a plate of bread. "Sir," one guard began, "we can relocate you. We have a great view near the—" "My wife picked this spot," the dad said, his mouth tightened, "when we could still pick things together." The little girl blinked fast. The hat in her lap crumpled. Evelyn's jaw shifted. "I don't have time for sentiment." "Then don't waste it," he said. "Go sit with your guests." Her assistant tried again, soft voice. "Miss Crane, the investors are waiting for me to show them what power looks like," she said, not taking her eyes off the dad. "Move him." The guard reached for the back of the chair. "Don't touch it," Noah said, still calm, not a tremor. "Sir, call the police," Noah said to the manager. "Let them sort it, or bring the owner out." "But we're not moving, and we're not going quietly." Evelyn's lips thinned. "Do you want to be embarrassed in front of your kid?" "She's watched worse, and she's come out kinder," he said. "Can you say the same?" That landed. A small, sharp exhale went around the room. The manager tugged his tie loose like it was choking him. "Miss Crane, please." She took in the room. The cameras, the frozen staff, the girl's small hand clutching her father's. Then she shook her head once, dismissing the optics like lint. She reached into her clutch, thumbed a card free and flicked it toward the table. A black MX skidded and stopped against the bread plate. "Name a number." Noah didn't touch it. "My kid heard me promise this." "Name a number doesn't get me back what I break if I teach her I sell out." Her assistant leaned toward him. "Mr. Ray's, we can offer—" "No," Noah said. "Take your card," the girl whispered, small voice trying to be brave. "We don't want it." For a second, something flickered across Evelyn's eyes. Annoyance, then surprise, then a flash of something else. It was gone in a blink. "Suit yourselves," Evelyn said. "Out." Security moved in. Noah put a hand up, not threatening, just a stop. His other hand reached into his pocket. He set his phone on the table, screen up. Record button red, time code running. For everyone's protection, he said. Including yours. The manager's eyes went wide. The hostess went pale. Evelyn didn't flinch. You think I care about a video? I think you care about winning, he said. And I'm not losing this one. The little girl looked up at him. Dad? Hey, he said, tipping his head down without breaking eye contact with Evelyn. Remember that thing Mom said about fireworks? That they cover the whole sky, she whispered. Yeah, they do, and we're gonna watch them from here. Her mouth wobbled, then steadied. Evelyn's assistant shifted his tablet. Miss Crane, if we delay any longer have the kitchen start with the caviar, Evelyn said, bored. I'll join them after someone moves a dad and a party hat. She stared at Noah like a puzzle that should have clicked 12 moves ago. Mr. Reyes, is this about the money or the camera? It's about a promise, he said. Her mouth tugged. Promises are for people who don't run empires. Or for people who still look their kids in the eye. The kind of quiet in the room changed. It stopped being fear. It turned into watchfulness. The guard tried again. Sir, if you don't, the little girl coughed. A small sound, hacked like she'd swallowed wrong. Noah glanced down. You okay, Leela? She nodded quick. Another cough. She rubbed at her neck. Evelyn's head turned a fraction. Her eyes tracked the scratch marks. The way the girl's bottom lip started to swell, the flush rising high on her cheekbones, the spread of hives across the neckline of her dress. Her voice dropped. What did she eat? Noah looked confused. Nothing yet, just the bread and the cookie from the host when we came in. The hostess startled. Just a small macaron from the bakery, I thought. Peanut, Evelyn snapped. She was already moving. Where's your epi? The hostess' hands flew to her mouth. Oh my God, Noah was up now. The chair scraped hard. Leela, his voice broke. Leela, hey, breathe. Hey, her breaths were short and fast, a wheeze under them. Her fingers clawed at the collar of her dress like it suddenly got tighter. Do you have an EpiPen? Evelyn barked. Noah's eyes were wide and blank with panic. She never eats. Do you have an EpiPen? She repeated. He shook his head. Bag, she snapped at her assistant. To his credit, the man didn't hesitate. He dove into a sleek tote and came up with a bright orange injector. Evelyn's hands were steady. She knelt, not a billionaire at all for a second, just a woman. Leela, sweetie, that's your name, right? Look at me. Leela's eyes were glassy. She tried. She couldn't keep them open. Hey, Evelyn said, gentle now. You're having an allergic reaction. I'm going to help you breathe. Dad, hold her leg. Noah dropped. What do I? Just hold, right here. She tapped Leela's thigh. You're safe, she told the girl. You're safe, ready. The room held its breath with Leela. Click, thunk. Evelyn pressed the injector, counted loud and even. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. She pulled it out. Breathe. Slow in, out, that's it. The wheeze shifted. Air found a path. Leela's face stayed blotchy, but the panic in her eyes cleared a little. Call 911, Evelyn said to the manager without looking up. Her voice brooked no argument. Tell them anaphylaxis. Tell them epinephrine administered at 7:19. Second dose ready. Clear all peanut products from the line and scrub down the pass. Now, the kitchen snapped to life like she'd thrown a switch. Chefs cursed and changed gloves. A server started crying into a napkin and then put it away and ran. Noah had one hand on his daughter's leg and the other on the table like he needed the gravity. Leela, she blinked. Dad? Yeah, he said, and every syllable was a prayer. Yeah. Evelyn sat back on her heels. The corners of her eyes went wet and she blinked it away like a reflex. She wiped her hands on a linen napkin and pressed her voice flat again. Stay with us, she told Leela. You might feel shaky, that's the medicine. Leela swallowed. Dizzy. That's okay, Evelyn said. You're doing so well. The first siren was a faint thread in the distance. Closer, closer. Noah looked up at Evelyn like he was seeing a stranger in a house he thought he knew. How did you know? She stared at the injector in her hand, then at Leela's small shoes, then at the tiny crushed blue hat. Because once, she said, quiet enough that only the table heard, nobody moved fast enough. The manager met the paramedics at the door. He spoke in the clipped, too loud voice of someone trying to help and not fall apart. They took over with a practiced ballet, blood pressure cuff, pulse ox, Oxygen tube, calm, clipped questions. Name, Leela Reyes, Noah said. Age, 9, known allergies. Now peanuts, Evelyn said flatly. Write it down twice. They nodded. They nodded at her like they knew who she was. They did their job like they didn't care. They loaded Leela onto a gurney. No, she said, reaching for her dad's sleeve when they started to move her. Don't let my cake go away. It won't, Evelyn said, already standing. It absolutely will not, I promise. Noah blinked at the word, promise. I'm riding with her, he told the paramedics. Of course, one said, like only an idiot would argue. He turned to Evelyn. He looked like a man who'd stood eye to eye with a hurricane and watched it pull a child out of a riptide. Thank you, he said. The words sounded inadequate and also like the truest ones he'd ever said. She nodded once. Go, we'll handle this. They wheeled Leela out. Noah jogged beside her, hand on the rail, mouth moving in little half-phrases not meant for anyone else. The door swung closed. The sirens faded down the street. The room exhaled like a lung. The manager sagged against a column and then snapped upright again, eyes scanning for instruction. Staff stood in clusters, buzzing and spent. Evelyn looked at her assistant. Cancel the dinner, he blinked. Cancel, she said. Tell them I had an emergency, they can eat without me or they can leave, I don't care. But the investors are welcome to invest in someone with a soul, she said. Or not, she turned to the manager. All peanuts get out of this building, all of them. You're going to run a deep clean tonight. You're going to book an allergen training for your entire staff. I'm going to pay for it. He nodded. Yes, Miss Crane. She slid the used injector back into its case with a click. She stared at the little bathroom sign on the wall for a beat like it was holding her up. Then she lifted her chin. And listen to me, she said to the whole room. Nobody here gets fired for this. That hostess, that server, that busser who disappeared when I walked in, nobody, we are not making fear the lesson. The hostess put both hands over her face and sobbed once. The busser resurfaced from behind the bar with red eyes and nodded like a metronome. The assistant hovered. The optics can go to hell, she said. Phones were still out. Red dots blinked. A few feeds were already online with titles like Upton Billionaire goes nuclear at family birthday. The comments would be up. The pitchforks would be sharp. Evelyn scanned the room, found the diner who'd been filming at the neighboring table. For a second, she almost spoke. Then she didn't beg, she didn't threaten. She just held the woman's gaze and let her see it. The swipe of softness behind the armor, the tired, the failure. The woman lowered her phone. Outside, the sirens drifted to nothing. The street sounds came back. Somewhere, a kid laughed. A half hour later, Noah came back. No one expected him to. The hostess almost knocked over her podium, catching her breath. He had hospital bracelets looped around his wrist. His shirt was untucked. He looked emptied out and full of something hard and bright at the same time. She's okay, he said to the manager before anyone could ask. They're keeping her for observation. They said we did everything right. Everyone glanced at Evelyn without meaning to. Noah did too. Then he faced her fully. Thank you, he said again. It landed different this time. He had something under it that wasn't panic. Respect, maybe. A fresh stripe of grief that wasn't about today. Evelyn nodded. How is she feeling? Tired, he said. Mad about the ambulance bill and mad she didn't get her fireworks. Evelyn's mouth twitched. That sounds like a good sign. He shifted his weight. She asked if her cake would still be there. It will, Evelyn said. We stopped the line, everything got scrubbed, no peanuts on premises. The manager nodded furiously. Locked up, tossed out, you name it. Noah looked at Evelyn again. Something like a puzzle settled in his eyes. You knew exactly what to do. Her fingers curled around the back of a chair until the knuckles blanched. She looked at the river, then back at him. I had a son, she said, simple, flat. His name was Julian. The room fell into a different kind of quiet. She kept her voice even. A coated peanut in a tart at a gala. He was 8. They didn't label it. The label wouldn't have saved him anyway because I brought him to a room where the staff were too scared of me to correct me. And then nobody moved fast enough. The air went thin. I made myself into a knife after that, she said, because if people feared me, they would never hesitate. It was a bad equation. Nobody spoke, not out of fear, Out of not wanting to break something fragile in the space between, Noah set the phone he'd used earlier on the table. The screen showed a video thumbnail. The red record circle sat next to a trash icon. He tapped and held. It wiggled, then it disappeared. He emptied the recently deleted, took 2 extra taps to make it final. "I don't trade my kids' worst moments for clicks," he said, "and I don't trade yours for blood." Her throat worked. "I didn't ask." "I know," he said. "I saw you didn't." The assistant shifted like a man who'd been about to offer money and was reconfiguring on the fly. "Keep your money," Noah said, not unkindly. "Keep your card, keep your investors, I want something else." Evelyn lifted her chin. "Name it." "Stop making people small," he said. "You don't need it to win." Her eyes flickered, then something loosened in her face. It looked like pain. It looked like relief. "All right," she said. "We'll start here." She turned to the manager. "Their table, the window, lock it to their name once a year. Birthday, no buyouts, no bumps. If anyone tries to make you move them, call me, and make sure your software can't override it." The manager's mouth hung open. He closed it. "Yes, Miss Crane, and do not comp it," Noah said, quick. He stuck his hands in his pockets like if he didn't anchor them, he'd wring them raw. "We saved for this." She was excited to tip. Evelyn almost smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. It was the real one, the one that likely didn't come out much. "You can pay," she said, "but I'm sending the cake to the hospital." He exhaled a laugh that surprised both of them. The assistant cleared his throat. "Miss Crane, the fireworks. Bring Noah a car to the hospital when the first fireworks start," she said. "Driver waits as long as it takes. No charge." She looked back at Noah. "She can watch from the parking deck. Not as good as the window, but not nothing." He hesitated. Pride itched. "Love won." He nodded. "Thank you." Evelyn glanced around at the ring of staff who had drifted back within listening range. "And one more thing," she said. Her voice carried without effort. "I don't want to be someone you hide from. If I come in here and act like someone to hide from, tell me. Every time." Nervous laughter skimmed, then died. She held their eyes and didn't back down from the part that didn't deserve laughter. The hostess sniffed, then managed, "Yes, Miss Crane." "Evelyn," she corrected, surprised at herself. The hostess blinked. "Yes, Evelyn." Noah stood there a second longer like a man in the odd calm after a storm. He reached for the chair, then paused. "I was rude," he said. "Earlier, you two, we both were. I won't forget what you did next." "Neither will I," she said. "That you told me no," he nodded. "She learns from what I do, not what I say." "Mine would have too," she said, and her mouth flattened around the wood like it had bones. He swallowed. "I'm sorry." "So am I," the manager hovered. "Do you want should we?" "Pack the cake," Evelyn said. "Write her name in big letters, Leela with a heart. Make sure nothing touches it. New box, fresh gloves." The pastry chef stuck her head out of the kitchen, cheeks flushed. "On it, I'll bring extra candles, sparklers." "Good," Evelyn said. "Not near the oxygen." The assistant typed a note so fast his fingers blurred. "Already flagged." "Driver's on the way," he added. 10 minutes. People started moving again. The restaurant found a rhythm. Plates clinked. Laughter, soft and stunned, edged back in. The space didn't feel the same, but it felt like something you could sit in and not choke. Noah lingered by the window. He touched the glass with his fingertips like he could make the river hold still for when he brought her back. "Hey, Noah," the bartender said, shy and brave. "Next time her Shirley Temple's on me, with the good cherries." He smiled at the floor. "She'll like that." He glanced at his phone. He typed. A minute later, it buzzed back. He looked up. "She says hi and thank you, and she didn't think the ambulance would be so bumpy." "Tell her the driver needs better shocks," the bartender said. "I'll take it up with the union." It got a small laugh, and that was enough to keep people upright. Evelyn stepped closer to the window. She kept a polite distance like she was approaching a skittish animal. Maybe she was approaching herself. "She'll be okay?" she asked. "She will," he said. "They said you saved her." She shook her head. "We did." He studied her for a second. "Was your son?" "Funny," she said before he could finish. "Curious. He liked to take apart things and put them back together wrong on purpose to see how long it would take me to notice." Something shifted at the edge of her mouth. "He would have liked that you didn't take my card." Noah looked down at his hands, at the callus near his thumb joint from lifting boxes. He'd worked 2 extra shifts to make this night happen. It had been worth it before it went sideways. It would be worth it again. My wife, he stopped, started again. We did fireworks every year on our roof. After she died, we skipped a year because it hurt too much. Leela missed them. This was my make-up. You almost pulled it off, Evelyn said. He huffed out a laugh. Almost. The assistant reappeared with a sleek white box with a pink ribbon and a neat sticker that said Alder and Ash. The pastry chef had drawn a crooked heart on the lid with edible marker. Leela Hart's suit, a pack of sparklers sat on top under a plastic ring of fake flowers. Hospital ready, the chef said, proud and fierce. Triple checked. No nuts, no seeds, no fun. She smiled, then sobered. Kidding, it's good. Noah took the box like it meant something. It did. He nodded at her. Thank you. The assistant lifted a hand. Cars out front. Noah looked at Evelyn. He looked at the table. He looked at the river, the bridge, the sleepless city that would keep throwing light at the dark whether or not anyone watched. Same time next year. He asked the manager. The manager's smile came back, real this time, already on the books. Evelyn rapped her knuckles once on the table like a tiny gavel. It's a promise, she said, and winced at her own word. Noah stayed on it. Then keep it. She held his gaze. I will, he left then. The cake balanced. The bracelet in the fluorescent hallway light flashed once before the door closed behind him. Evelyn remained by the window. She watched the river she'd driven past 1,000 times in black cars with glass that didn't roll down. She touched the cool pane with the back of her fingers and pulled it away like it could burn. The assistant hovered. Do you want me to reschedule the investors? Issue a statement, she considered. Issue training, issue kindness. If they still want to invest, they know where to find me, he nodded. Yes, Evelyn. He didn't trip on the name this time. She took out her phone. She typed fast and final, to all execs. Subject, new policy. Text, no family will be bumped from a confirmed reservation for VIPs. None negotiable. Company-sponsored allergen training across hospitality holdings. NDA never to be used to silence safety concerns, ever. If someone tells you no, ask why, then listen. Expect resistance. Do it anyway. She hit send. A minute later, the first fireworks cracked the sky. The restaurant dimmed its lights by instinct. People paused in stories and turned toward the windows. Red, blue, gold spilling and falling. Evelyn didn't look at her own reflection. She looked at the empty chairs, at the place where a little crushed hat had been. She imagined a hospital parking deck, a tired kid in a paper gown under a hoodie, a dad with a cake box in his lap and hope in his hands, sparklers fizzing against the wind, tiny and stubborn. She lifted a hand and, without thinking, waved to the night like someone could see. The manager appeared at her elbow. Can I get you anything? For once, she said. No, he smiled at the river. We'll make sure the table's ready next year. You better, she said. He'll ask. And if someone tries to buy it out, she watched a gold starburst break into smaller pieces and fall. Tell them to find another sky. A second firework boomed, closer, sharper. It reflected in her eyes. This was the part where in other lives she'd set her jaw and turn away. But she didn't. She stood there and let herself feel the brightness and the loss at the same time because there was no getting one without the other. When the last firework fizzed to black, the staff weren't hiding. They were watching her watch the window, and she let them. She didn't bark. She didn't shrink. She put one hand flat on the table that had not moved and nodded once, to no one and to everyone. Happy birthday, Leela, she said, quiet, a promise tucked inside the words. Then she took a breath, turned toward the door and walked toward whatever kind of person she was going to be next.